Hello everyone again and welcome to Python tips. So today we will be looking at file handling. File handling is very essential in Python, especially if we are going to do with a lot of web applications, as well as extracting data from a website, as well as trying to maybe read or write data files onto a disk. So for the practice today, I will be first of all, I will start on how we can, create this file and then also show how we can also write our own program, save it, and then run it later. So most of the times for the start of the lesson, I just show how we can launch this IDE. From here, we can type IDE and it launches. So when it launches, we always have this interface. And this is what I've been using most of the times. So to actually write your own program in a customized way so that you don't have this version of Python, you can just click on File, go to New, and then you can, if you go to New, you should be having something like this, where you can type your own program, save it, and then later on run it. So this is what I actually did today. So that is why if you look at here, we are having something different from that. So when we open that, go to new file, create that program, we can always save it. So if you want to save it, you can just come down to what save as, trace a location. I will advise you to create a folder on the desktop for this lesson today so that you can save this. You can save it, give it any file name. I already gave it a file name, which is like file handle. So now to create this demo text file that we'll be using, you can use any notepad. So I use notepad where I just open notepad on our systems. You should have something like this. And then I already created that file. So the text in that file, I can just open that. The text in that file is actually something I created, which is like hello, welcome to demo file.txt. This is for testing purposes only. So this is how the text we are going to be using for practice today. You can create your own file and make sure that you save this file in that same location or on the where you save this Python program you're writing, or maybe on the folder you created. So that make sure that this Python program you're writing is in the same folder or on the same folder with what the text demo file that we have. So that is it. And then now let's move to the proper file handling, how to handle files in Python. So the syntax here is always what? Open, we give it a file name, and then what? The mode. So for the mode, we can have read, we can have write when we want to write something, like instead of going to the notepad to create that file that we are using for practice, you can actually use what? Write option to write or save text onto that disk. Remember, I said we can read as well as what? Write text onto what? Disk. And then appending here is the same like we saw on the list, how to add the last element on the list. Binary, X, most of the times, if the text is binary, or we have to use this option, and then creating, we can also create text if we want to. Now, let's start with that demo file where we have what? F is equals to open demo file dot text is what? Read. We want to read that file. Now, if we are using this option to open that file, then we always want to what? To close it. That is a good practice in Python. So because you don't want to open the text and just keep it, you want to like, okay, open it and then you close it. Now, when you open that text, you have what? Read. This read option here means that you want to read the content of that text, and then here you can print it. Now, if you don't want to use every time you open this file, you have to close it. You can use that word with option to open file, which is a best practice. I would recommend you using this one most of the times, whether you are scripting data from a website and all the like. So here you can do with open and then read, because we are reading that text as what? F, and then we can do what? Print f.read lines. F.read. Now, instead of reading the entire text, one thing you can do is what? You can read it line by line. If you want to read it line by line, as I did mention, it's always good to use the with option to open this text. You can just do this option, and then you do what? F.read lines, and then you print that. Now, as I did mention, you might want to maybe add some content onto that text, which is like what? Adding is like you are doing A, which is like append, the same like we did in the case of the list, you can append. Remember, when you append this, it goes to what? The last element in that text. So when we append, we want to see whether this text is actually added. So that's why we are going back to reading this text and then what? Printing it. So let's run this. So we have already saved this file. As I did mention, you can go to save as save it in the folder you created. We can come to the menu bar here and then we click run. We can take run. So when we run this program, this is the output that we have. Now, the first part here, which is saying the content, is going to read this for the first way to read that program and then close it. The second option is the with option, which can use the same way. And then this other one is what? Read line, which read it line by line. So most of the times we will use this read line option and then strip if we want to remove anything, like backslash here is like new line, especially when we want to do text mining, like we want to count the number of times maybe hello occurs in that text. Maybe we want to count the number of times we have demo .text. Maybe we want to count the number of times is in that text and all the like. So in that case, we want to use this option of read lines so that we can read every content in that text, put it in form of a list, and then from that list we can look through and count every number of times that text occur. Now, as I did mention, I said we can append. So you see that we already appended something onto that text file that we created. That's why we are seeing on this last line saying that what? Appended line. So because when we created this, I did here, where did we append? We appended this, and then we say when you append this text, move it to what? To the next line. So when we read it, I go back here. Where's our output? That's why we are now having this on what? The next line. Now, if you look at this output here, if we look at this output, we are seeing some huge, number, which is like what? 74,000, 743,375. So how did we get this? Now, as I did mention, we see here, so how can we, maybe download text directly from a website? Those of us, as I did mention, we will be using this a lot if we want to do text mining, if we want to get text directly from a website. This is the Gutenberg website where we downloaded a book. Now I got the URL to that website, and then if I want to maybe download that text directly from, or that book directly from the website, I can import this library, which is what? Import what? Request, because I'm requesting something from that website, and then I can do response is equals to what? Request.get. Now getting means go into this URL and get me the content of this book. And then now I can do text because I just want to see the content of that URL. I want to extract just the text from that book. If I do text is equal to response.text, and then it's going to give me, and then I want to just know the length of that text. So that is why when we run this program, we are having this at the end of this line, this large number. So as for exercise today, you can try to maybe create a new file, write your name and age in it, and then what you can do is try to read the content of that file and print it, as well as what? You can try to append maybe your favorite color to the same file. That will be a good practice. Also, you can try to download any data that you have, maybe it's a book on a website, and try to see whether you can try to get the text or the content of that of what you downloaded. Guys, thank you so much. Keep following for more tips, and as I did mention, you will learn a lot from these Python tips. Thank you so much.